Welcome, folks. I am Jaby Koay, joined by KIRK.
What's up?
This is our review for Vanguard, starring Jackie Chan and directed by Stanley Tong. It's also starring Yang Yang, Mia Mookie, Lun A, Rohan Shu, and Zhengting Zhu. It's probably starring a number of other people as well, worth mentioning, but those are the immediate names listed in IMDb. This will be a non-spoiler review. Let's see if they have an IMDb summary that would help us. That would help us out a lot. Covert security company Vanguard is the last hope of survival for an accountant after he is targeted by the world's deadliest mercenary organization. This is a very, very international film, and much like we experience with our Indian films that we watch frequently, the native talent, native in this case being Chinese, you have a cast of wonderful actors who are all doing a stellar job of either just, performing very well, being funny, having a good camaraderie with each other. I think it was a really, really cool cast. My main draw into this film was Jackie Chan and Stanley Tong. I came to discover a handful of other actors in here that I actually came to appreciate.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the pairing of Jackie Chan and Stanley Tong as a team, but the thing I love most about Jackie Chan is that he always has this really great marriage of wonderful action and then just really fun comedy as well, and that was definitely here in spades. I laughed a lot and I really enjoyed that because there were definitely moments where I was like, okay, that's just silly, but it's funny. And then there were moments where it was funny because I felt like it was realistic. I really liked that combination.
For those of you wondering whether or not you can watch this with your kids or watch it with, young companions of some kind, if you've watched the trailer and you felt comfortable showing that to young ones, then the film will be just as, palatable.
Right.
Because it doesn't get much more violent than the trailer does. There's a little bit of blood towards the end of the movie, but that's it. It's actually fairly family-friendly by today's standards. It's not crazy violent.
Yeah.
The main draw for me, Jackie Chan and, martial arts sequences, that is present here. But a lot of the movie, as was indicated by the trailer, is big, epic, ambitious action. I personally would have preferred less of the ambitious action and had it been one of my favorite phrases is closer to earth, it's just like more simple, grounded stuff. But overall, it was a really, really fun package. There's a mixture of CGI with real practical action and then what I think is undercranking, where they speed up the film in order to make things have, higher speed, higher velocity.
Right.
And sometimes I got confused as to whether I was looking at CGI or just undercranked film. Overall, it's a fun movie, like I said, but I really, really would have liked to have seen more martial arts stuff, Jackie Chan stuff, fun, goofy martial arts action, because that's how the film starts out. In the first 25 minutes, I'd say you're getting a lot of that, and you're like, oh, cool, I'm in for a fun ride here. And then as the film goes along, much as is the nature of Jackie Chan movies, especially with Stanley Tong, you're getting like high-octane stunt sequences, action sequences, and that's when they're introducing a mixture of practical stuff where they shot it on location and it's like really dangerous, and you see in the outtakes just how dangerous it is.
Yeah.
And then they mixed it in with green screen for some of the talent that were probably not comfortable with being out there on the, I can't say what it is. I don't want to give it away.
It was super cool. I thought that was, like you said, it was a really, really ambitious sequence, and I thought it was pretty incredible that they managed to pull it off, actually.
Yes. One of the things that I predicted in watching the trailer was that we were going to be more focused on the younger talent in the film, and that is what happened here. Jackie Chan is leading the team, kind of like Charlie's Angels or something, and he is present, he is there, and he does do action, but the man is 66 years old, and you can only expect so much from him at his age after how much he's put himself through over the years, and I did go into this film forgiving of that. I would have liked to have seen more from him, but even with what we're watching here, I'm impressed he's able to move the way he does at his age.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that they gave him less to do in the movie in favor of these other guys. And the funniest thing is, I ended up liking the other guys so much, I really wanted to see more action from them, because the film starts you off with these really cool sequences of just movement, and it's really fun and really well choreographed and really, really well executed. I mean,
creative as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Stanley Tong still knows how to shoot fight scenes extremely well. Because the movie started off with that, I was really looking forward to seeing more of those sequences, and it sort of got caught up in being much bigger, almost like the end of Mr. Nice Guy. It just got to be really, really, really big, and it's like, oh, well, that's all well and good, but I was hoping for more like fight scene stuff, close quarter combat. Speaking of close quarter combat, I think that the military movement or the military style movement of the talent, the main actors, was actually really cool.
Yeah, like you could tell that they trained really, really hard for that, because there was that whole sequence where they were doing a bunch of like shooting and moving and stuff like that. And I was just watching them and I was just floored by how confidently they moved. Yeah. Because sometimes you watch these things and you see the actors and it very much feels like actors who are pretending.
Yeah.
But when I watched this, I was like, oh yeah, I totally buy that. Like it looks so slick and like confident,
Yeah. The way the action was shot in general when it was gun sequences or martial arts sequences, I love the way Stanley Tong I love where he puts the camera. I love how he moves the camera. And I really wish that he would do American films. I think he's had like he ventured into American cinema a little bit, but it didn't quite go anywhere, if I understand correctly. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've read about it. But just watching what he did here, I'm like, this is so cool. Like, he knows how to shoot action very, very, very well. And you see in the outtakes, like, he's there in the trenches with everybody, and he's like, this is how I want it. And he's moving, and he's like showing where he wants the camera, and he's showing how to demonstrate. He's demonstrating some of the fight choreography. I mean, he's dope.
Yeah.
He's really, really cool. I hope someday he does an American film, because it would be great to see his touch on martial arts sequences in American cinema, as opposed to a lot of the shaky stuff we're constantly inundated with. The sequences in the film that get very Mission Impossible-y, James Bondy,
right.
The stuff that gets like really, really like high concept, big action, I wasn't the biggest fan of. Like, it's cool that it's there and it's fun, and I understand that there's an audience for that stuff. But for me personally, like, I didn't enjoy that stuff quite as much, because I started to notice when it was CGI. I started to notice when, like, okay, there's car sequences in the movie, right, where cars are chasing each other and whatnot, and there were instances where it just looked like it had some kind of an artifice to it, because it was undercranked or it was CGI, because you're dealing with extremely expensive vehicles.
Right, yeah.
And so it's just safer. It's more budget conscious. And I understand that. I get it. But, like, that's why for me, I'd rather not have that stuff in there. I'd rather have it be
a car chase with, like, Toyota Corollas?
Either that, or just don't have car chase sequences, at least at that level. Like, I'd rather have them somehow get out of the car and fighting again or something like that.
Right.
Like chasing on foot would be more interesting to me, rather than getting caught up with like helicopters and cars and stuff like that. I'd rather just see them actually fighting and shooting at each other, like Way of the Gun or something like that. Like that was the more appealing stuff in the movie for me. And if I were to ever go back and look at any scenes from Vanguard, it would be for that stuff, because that was my favorite. Those were my favorite moments.
Yeah.
And in fact, like, that translates over into the outtakes as well, because those are the most interesting moments in the outtakes, and that's the majority of what you see there. And for those of you who stick around all the way through into the credits, you get to hear a song from Jackie Chan. I mean, assuming you're watching the same version we watched, which was in Chinese. I don't know if you're watching like an English dubbed version, then you might not hear that song.
Right.
But if you watch the Chinese version, you get to hear Jackie Chan singing again. For those of you who are super, super into female power, you got a character in here named Maya, and she was pretty cool.
Yeah.
She moves with confidence, and
I liked her a lot.
I liked her. I liked her from the trailer, and I liked her in the movie. I liked her character. She was cool. I mean,
Yeah.
just in general, like, the cast that they have, like, the main, I'd say 3 or 4 people besides Jackie Chan, I thought that they were actually pretty cool. You had one guy named Lei and another guy named Kaishan. I don't actually know how you say his name. That's not how you say it, but that's how it looks in the subtitles. And you had Maya.
Yeah.
Those 3 people. I think that those 3 actors were actually fantastic, and I would actually not mind watching them again in another film, because they were so cool.
Yeah, and I have to, take back what I said in the trailer, because I think initially in the trailer, I wasn't so sure about her movement, Maya's movement.
Yeah, Maya.
In the movie, I was like, okay, I stand corrected. This girl worked really, really hard, and she's a super badass lady, and I really liked her.
I guess in summary, I would say that the film is worth watching. It is a lot of fun. Just know going into it that there are moments where some of the action does have heavy CGI usage or heavy undercranking, like where it's being shifted in order to keep the pace of the action. Because like when you shoot cars moving, I've even messed around with that, in my own spare time, where when you shoot cars moving, sometimes it just doesn't look as cool because you don't have that velocity that you're looking for. And so in post-production, they sped it up or they CGI'd it to give it that effect. You know, you have stuff like that in this film, and there's not as much martial arts as you might hope if you are coming in here just for the martial arts, but it is there.
Yes.
And overall, the film is quite fun. And so there's no loss here if you go and take your girlfriend or your family or your boyfriend, wherever you are. Like, it's a fun movie, and I think you will enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely say that this exists in the category of fun romps.
Yes.
You know, like lots of laughs.
It's a popcorn movie.
Yeah, it's a popcorn film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not deep, but you'll have a good time.
And you'll have some laughs.
Yes.
So you guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Let us know your feelings in the comments below if you got a chance to see Vanguard. And check out ACHARA KIRK on the social media. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon, all notifications. And I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.